Okay, you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in a little bit more turd. And that's exactly what they've done here. This thing has so much character. It's a doozy. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know if I should start, but we're gonna do a walk around. I'll tell you a little bit about this 1984 HJ47. Now this one has come, they're on their way from Birdsville. You can tell about, look at the tyres and the dust that's all over it. They haven't cleaned it, as you can tell. They've just come out from Birdsville to come and visit Mr. Landcruiser, and this is their second visit here in a couple of days. We're going to help them with a lot of parts. So there is light at the end of the tunnel for this old turd. It's going to have a lot of new stuff, from weather strips, new floor, new chassis components. This thing needs a hell of a lot, but it's amazing testament to the old cruiser still on the road. And they've come, well, this one originally, the owners now have had it for a couple of years, and father and two sons have been touring in this, touring over Australia. Actually, so much so, when they leave here, they're still heading south. Touring's not over. They're going to go down to Sydney. They're going to take a photo of this old jigger with the Sydney Harbour and what have you. It's going to do the round. So Birdsville's only one part of the trip from a rig, the family that started in South Australia. But right now they're here at Mr. Landcruiser in Queensland, and we'll go through it. Now this one, unknown how many owners, but we do know it comes from Tumsey Bay, I believe, Tumsey Bay. Hopefully I've said that correctly, but it's come from there, and then it was found on Gumtree to its current owner now. And where it came from, he said, oh, don't you want to hear it running? I said, no, if she's running, sweet. They threw her on a truck and shipped her up north to South Australia, or further up South Australia where it lives now. Let's go through this thing. This thing is wild, just wild. You'll see if we take a close look. When I touch things, that's just grease. See all that in there? That's their version of rust proofing, is they've just greased this thing up. So we'll go right up the front. Probably the only new bits on this vehicle exist at the front of it. We've got the ARB bar. We've got the high mount and some decent kick-ass spotties. And that's all the new shiny stuff up the front of this one. And then going back underneath this vehicle, today we sell a McKinnon chassis cut, so we're going through the chassis components to see what chassis parts it needs, because the chassis is a bit munted, the cab's a bit munted, so we're going through the HOMS panels and the complete new panels that Mr. Landcruiser sells for everything. And of course Mr. Landcruiser does genuine Toyota from Japan, all our weather strips, so we're going through that. If we have a close look here, old mate's gone to Bunnings. I can see daylight up through there, and some call it air conditioning, some call it just a bodgy job, but it's kept it on the road. But now they love it so much. The boys probably too young to drive when they're on private property. The young lads have been touring with dad, driving this as well. It's just a family affair, enjoying this old jigger. On the back here, everything you see is their travels. Their travels for weeks on end. They're doing it out of the back of this thing. I've got to point out the exhaust on the other side. Now that is off a 79 series. They've married it up, and have a close look at all that chain holding it together. And if you're a chippy, you've seen that material that's holding it to the tray. She's very custom exhaust system. You got to love that. This whole car's custom. Let's have a look under the bonnet and see how custom under the bonnet is. Now look at this. If this was any other vehicle whatsoever, it would not have had this life. It would have died within 10 years of its life, 15 years of its life. True testament to the old technology, something basic as the 2H. That donk is the strongest part about this vehicle. That old 2H, she does chew a lot of oil, but it is the strongest part about it. There's they've done some wiring. There's wire everywhere. I see there's a brand new hub viscous and a radiator. Probably the only two new things going on here. Just all this stuff's missing, and it don't really matter. This thing, it fires over every day. I parked it. I didn't even know how to shut the thing down. I just stalled it. But the main thing is this old jigger, it just keeps going. And looking in the engine bay, it's probably one of the only areas without rust. So it's pretty impressive. And that bonnet. Okay, this thing's so wild. The interior's so wild. It blows me away. It blows me away how this thing is on the road. Now the good news, before anyone in the comments, before your mummy tells you to say that shouldn't be allowed on the road and that's illegal, don't worry mummy, the boys are here to purchase the parts to resto this car. So it driving around in this condition's coming to an end, but I'm going straight into the floor. Normally I say, look at this one, no rust. Let's have a close look at the floor. So these custom floor mats, the second floor mat, something you get at your front door or at your 1980s toilet. We had them as a kid. And look at the air conditioning there. That is bloody beautiful. That, on their Birdsville trip, would have saved a lot of heat. It would have been nice cool air in the morning coming through there. This, even the door's got speakers. It's where he shoves his earbuds just so he can pluck them out at easy access. And look at, it's all got the car builders, we'll call it. It's had the extra little effort put into these doors. Beautiful. There's even some, I don't know why it's under there. There's mats under the seat that have bolted in there. Leads me to the dash. This dash is the most spectacular dash I've ever seen. It is, when we do a walk around, some of them have just been restored. They're that boring, that they're beautiful, but what do I talk about? Come in here and look at the wiring. Look at the bird's nest. It's just amazing. If we take a close look, he's got his little, up the top here, he's got his tweeters professionally installed. No doubt the odometer doesn't work. It stopped at something like, he said 500,000, but we've got a new speedo up here and a cluster of all the plugins, so you can charge the phone, charge the batteries, what have you, and the UHF up the top. There's even things up the top I won't go into detail because I have no idea what they are. We'll come down a level and then there's more grease, and actually everything's pretty factory there. And then we go down another level and check it out. What the hell is that? I love it. Look at all this wiring. Look at all this panel here. The wiring over there. I can't even begin to tell you what the that is or what it does. I have no idea, but it's bloody brilliant. It breeds so much character. These guys are traveling. And just remember this, family memories. These boys are growing up with dad and this old jigger, just real old school. This is going to create some great memories. Now, old mate was showing us the photos of Birdsville, Big Red. He's done it all in this old girl. Bloody hell. Now look at this, they've already started the rust repairs. There's rust holes bigger than that in this car. It's just amazing. It blows me away, and it is so much character. Now I'm guilty of this when I go camping. We've got the girls and stuff where you got the pie oven, you got the bloody the fridge and the freezer and the extra fridge, and we got, you know, the kettle that you plug in or the kettle that you boil. These guys, this is testament to show if you've got an old banger like a 40 or a 60, you don't need much. You just got to keep them wheels turning, keep a bit of grease in them, keep them maintained. I'm not talking legalities here, I'm just saying that it's simple to keep these apocalyptic pieces of shit going. It's just fucking wonderful. Look at this, nothing's strapped down. That probably cooks their dinner, makes them a cuppa in the morning. They don't need no bloody pie oven and a fridge this and a fridge and a blah, 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 fancy that. This thing is bloody beautiful. So much character. I hope we get to meet it again. Now, as I always ask you, say, future plans. I think the first plan is not to get arrested and pulled it off the road in between here and Sydney and home. So if they do that without going to jail, mission accomplished. But then comes the real fun. It might be a piece of, might be rough beauty at the moment, but they're here today. We're going to load it up and strap them all down. Again, panel repairs, chassis parts, weather strips, the key ingredients to getting this restored back on the road, and that father and two sons can just continue making memories and possibly even pass this bad boy down. 1984, such a pleasure. HJ47.